Hello, this is Angela with Parker's Permaculture. Standing in the backyard of my Portland, Oregon permaculture garden here in Zone 8B. Pretty much was a perfect last summer day here in Portland. Just really lovely and sunny, and I just had a fantastically crappy day. Just lots and lots of stuff yesterday, just processing a lot of trauma from a lot of various things, a lot of really difficult things I'm dealing with some of my kids, and just some general life stuff that's really just really frustrating and extremely draining. And I might have taken it out on my garden today. I might have said, screw it, it's really nice weather and I'm gonna come outside and take my frustrations out on the garden. So I want to show you what I did today, and then just talk about like why it's okay to kind of quit, or why it's okay to just kind of be done, why it's okay to vent your stress in the garden. So we're facing the return of the rain this weekend, which I'm super excited about. Those of you that have watched many of my videos will know I love the gray, I love the rain. I've been in Oregon for 18 years and I love it here. It didn't take me any time to adapt to the really short days in the fall and winter and the constant gray drizzle. I love it. I love it. I love being outside in it, and I love being inside all cozy in front of the wood stove, working on spinning or knitting or baking. It's just, I feel like I'm made to be a Pacific Northwesterner. So we have all of this rain coming back the end of this week, and that means that I really got to pick the rest of the tomatoes. I've really got to harvest anything that's going to split, right? So when it rains, that causes a dramatic uptake, especially because we're about to have a bunch of heavy rain. When it rains, it causes this big uptake of water into the plant. And if you have fruit or tomatoes, also fruit, obviously, if you have fruit that is kind of fleshy and high water content, and you get that quick influx of water into the plant because of rainfall, what you find is that your fruit will split. And it's really unfortunate. And then the fruit flies come in, and then like slimy mold sets in really quickly. So for me, I was like, crud, I just spent all this energy pruning back a bunch of my tomatoes, and we're gonna have rain, and I'm just gonna pick anything that looks like it's gonna ripen on the counter. And any of those big green beefsteaks, I'm just gonna make fried green tomatoes this week with them. And also, big beefsteaks make great dill pickles as well if they're green. So I thought, you know what, that's what I'm gonna do. So I had all of this kind of like built up stress in my body, and I was just really low on sleep and very low bandwidth for able to be dealing with frustration. And I came out to my garden and thought, I'm going to chop up some of these tomato plants, throw them right back on the bed. And then I realized how many of my pumpkin vines were intertwined through the tomato cages, and how I was starting to get pumpkins where the stem is turning brown, and that's an indicator that your pumpkin is ripe. Some of them still have green stems, and I thought, you know what, just screw it. I'm done with these beds. I'm going to take everything up. So I took 2 beds today. This bed behind me, which actually is kind of a modified hugel raised bed, and this little bed behind me here, which is a kidney bean shaped bed. And I just decided this is the day. I'm going to pull everything up. I noticed that in this bed here, there were a few little rat burrows because I live in Portland and rodents are a reality. And I was so frustrated with that. I took my shovel, I filled them back in. I pulled up all of the green matter, chopped it up, put it back on the bed, added a good dusting of glacial rock dust and azomite, and I called it good. I know that I could have nursed those pumpkins along for a few more days. I know that I could have limped my tomatoes along a little bit. I just don't care. I'm just ready to be done. And for me, the work of pulling up everything, chopping it up with a hoe and with my hand pruners was really cathartic. Like, it's really healing to be out in the garden and kind of be a destructive force, but a destructive force for good, to be a disturbance. So to be a force of disturbance in the garden where you are unleashing your frustrations can be a way that you help your garden get to a state of rest and recovery, right? Ripping up everything, putting it back on the bed, throwing it down, helps put my garden to bed for the winter. It helps let everything just kind of chill out and get that season of rest. And for me, being able to let all of that frustration out by carrying out this act of chopping everything up and ripping it up and like just being really frustrated and letting all my feelings come out, taking them all out on the plants, is a way to help me get to a place where I can kind of be in a restful state, right? I always talk to my kids about releasing your emotions, that if you hold them in, you are doing yourself a disservice and others a disservice, that if you let yourself feel your frustration, feel your sadness, feel your grief, and you let it out in a way that's healthy and doesn't harm others, that you can get to a place where you can release it, right? Once you process it, you can let it go. So for me, being in the garden, particularly doing like really vigorous physical things like chopping down trees or doing really heavy pruning or ripping up plants and chopping them up into little bits or digging big holes, all of those are ways that I help process the stress in my life. And I find that when I'm in a period where I'm particularly dealing with kind of like a heavy, weighty thing, that it's very healing, it's very cathartic to come out to the garden and just do something really physical. And kind of like when my kids are really upset and I'll let them like scream into a pillow or take a piece of paper and shred it up. Being out here and just like chopping up everything and, swearing at the plants when they won't come up out of the ground as easily as I want them to. All of that is a really benign way that I can kind of release all of my tension. So I know people talk about the garden being a healing space, and it definitely can be a healing space. Just watching beautiful, green, lush, living things grow and facilitating that can be really healing. But it can also be really healing to be your own force of disturbance in the garden, to be your own process of tearing things down in the garden can be a way of letting those feelings out and getting past them and healing. So that's where I was at today. The topic I wanted to cover for this video, I didn't do because I just got really pissed off at my garden and I started ripping up everything, and that's how my afternoon went. I have a big pile of pumpkins here that will be curing for a few days, and then I can start cooking them and enjoying them. And I have beds that I don't have to worry about. They're done now. They can just quietly, peacefully decompose. All of the plant matter can return to the earth, and after this quiet season of rest over the winter, they'll be ready to plant in the spring. So getting the garden back to a state of tranquility and rest through the process of destruction is just such a healing thing for me. And I don't want to discount in any way all stages of the garden season are places where you can find healing and you can find peace for yourself, right? They are all stages of the year where you can find not only a benefit for your body physically, but also a benefit mentally and emotionally as well. Today, that's what that benefit looked like for me. So I just wanted to share that with you all and let you know that you absolutely have permission to do the same thing in your garden. If you're just fed up and you're done and you're sick of something in your garden, just enjoy that process of ripping it all up and being like, I'm so freaking done with this. And just know that that's okay. That's an okay place to be at. And you may find that it's really, really beneficial for you to go through that process yourself. So I hear chickens clamoring around asking for their dinner, so I'm going to go feed them and then I'm going to go for my run. I hope you all are staying safe and well and taking care of your emotional needs, because permaculture has 3 ethics. The second one is people care, and people care includes you caring for yourself. So make sure that you make time to care for yourself so that you can engage better with your family, with your community, with your garden ecosystem itself. So if you got something out of this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please click subscribe. That would be awesome. I also have a Patreon down in the description for folks interested in supporting this channel on a regular basis. Thanks.